Okay, so today we're going to talk about Heidegger and the limits, well, I guess Heidegger, also Husserl, and the limits of doubt, and how phenomenology kind of solves the problem of doubt. So there's oftentimes this idea, and if you ever read philosophy, especially modern philosophy, this idea of doubt. So what actually is doubt? Let's see here. So Descartes is a good example of this, right? So Descartes broke away from the scholastic tradition in medieval philosophy by questioning, although eventually asserting, the existence of God. So he says, how can we know that God exists? Or alternatively, how do you know that you exist? How do you know that the world exists? How do you know that anything exists? You know, Descartes' demon is a famous example of radical doubt. A more modern example of that would be like a brain in a jar, or the Matrix, or something like that. And so some people will learn about doubt, and they'll say, okay, well, Descartes tried to find a ground. He said, I think, therefore I am. But people like Kant have kind of destroyed that notion, that the I think, well, actually Hume destroys that, but then Kant kind of tries to repair it, where the I think is actually dubitable. You can actually doubt that. So the question is there something that's actually undoubtable? Is there a ground that can solve the problem of doubt? So to understand this, we have to understand first what actually is doubt. So doubt is the possibility of negating a judgment. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, let's give an example. Okay, so let's say that I give you a judgment, and I'll explain what a judgment is in a second. Let's say I give you a judgment that the sky is blue. Can you negate that judgment? Well, you can say the sky is not blue. If you say the sky is not blue, you've now negated the judgment, and that's doubt. So doubt is just the negation of a judgment. So a judgment, you should probably explain what a judgment is. A judgment is any sentence or anything. Judgment is a sentence in the form S is P. So we can say, you know, the sky is blue, the grass is green, the car is red, whatever. So the three parts of a judgment are S, then is, and then P. So S is called the subject, is called the copula, and P is called the predicate. So a judgment has a subject. So I'll give an example. I'll say the car is red. So the car here is the subject, is the copula, and red is the predicate. So what I'm saying in this judgment is that the predicate of red is contained within the subject of the car. And the way that I combine these two things is using the copula. So a copula is anything, any conjugation of the verb to be. So something like, so there are three conjugations of the verb to be. There is, of course, is, am, and are. So, for example, this is red, I am red, and of course you are red. They are all conjugations of the verb to be. So what I'm doing in judgment is I'm taking a subject, so this subject is any noun, I am using a copula to combine it with any predicate, any basically property, and I'm arguing that the property is contained in some way within the subject. So Kant talks about the different kinds of judgments. There's analytic and synthetic. But the question then arises, okay, so if doubt, remember we're talking about doubt, if doubt is the possibility of negating a judgment, and a judgment relies on a subject, copula, and predicate, then can I doubt a subject, copula, or predicate? Are these dubitable? Well, what would that look like? Okay, so let's take a look. So if I wanted to doubt, let's just say doubt a subject, what would that look like? Well, a subject would be simply saying car or saying the car. So if I say car or if I say the car, that's all a subject is, right? Because remember, if you go to this example, the car is red, all I'm saying is just the car. I'm just giving the subject. Okay, so can I doubt car or the car? Well, to doubt, remember, to doubt, I have to negate a judgment. So in this case, we don't have a judgment, but let's just say that we negate the subject. So I say car, not car. Therefore, question mark. What does that mean? Okay, so I have the car, and I have not the car not. What am I saying here? So the traditional answer to this would be that, well, saying car or not the car, this is meaningless. I'm not actually saying, really communicating anything. But if I say the car is, I can say the car is not. And now I'm communicating something. So I've now added the copula, right, to the subject. And now I can negate it and kind of have doubt. So this is where Heidegger will come in, and you can ask the question, what does the copula mean? What is this actually communicating? When I say, this is red, I am red, you are red, what does is, am, are, conjugations of the verb to be, what does this actually mean? What is the meaning of being? Now, for the purposes of this, what we're going to say here is that, okay, if the question really is, can you attach is to the subject? So Kant thinks that you can. So Kant would say yes. Kant would approve. So Kant thinks that any subject has within it, I forget the exact name, I think it's something like internal or intrinsic property or something, but basically what he means is that to say the car is just to say the car is. Saying the car and saying the car is mean the same thing, because the idea of a car contains existence, contains isness within it. Now, the problem here is that if I just take the car, or if I take the car is not, and I negate it, the car is not, what am I actually communicating? What does this actually mean? Well, judgments can either be true or false. Now, I'm not going to go into the Heideggerian definition of truth because it's very complicated, but the general Kantian understanding of truth is that truth is correspondence. So if I say the car is red, ... and the car is actually red, then this would, so if I say the car is red and then the car is actually red, then this would be true. But if the car is actually blue, then this would be false. So truth is correspondence between an object, in this case the actual car here, and its judgment. So the judgment is true only insofar as it corresponds to the object. Okay, but if I say the car is ... or I say the car is not ... what correspondence is there? You maybe say, well, saying the car is, that's asserting the existence of a car. Okay, but then can I say the unicorn is ... Is this false? If this is true because cars exist, then saying the unicorn is, does that mean that this is false? right? It's unclear. And this is the problem, is that subjects, if we go back up here, subjects don't have truth values. Now, judgments do, right? A judgment's truth value is determined by its correspondence with its requisite object. But the subject within the judgment has no truth value. So when I look at the car is, it's neither true nor false. It is meaningless. So I can actually just flip the page here. So I can say that, actually, I'll use this page, this side's nicer. So I can say that subjects are meaningless. They don't have a truth value. They're neither true nor false. So what this means is, if it's neither true nor false, then a negation of a neither true nor false thing is also meaningless, which means that you actually cannot doubt a subject. So if I just say the car, and I say the car not, these are both, they mean the same thing in the sense that they are both meaningless. So what this really means is that subjects, right, these are the things that we intuit in our mind, that we are just experiencing, like the car or the pen or the paper or the word or the cap or the finger. All these things are indubitable. They can't be doubted, because to doubt them, you need an intuition. You need a subject to actually form a judgment to then negate. So subjects comprise the very thing that makes judgments or makes doubt possible. So we can do a little chain here. We can say subjects are required for judgments, which are required for meaning, which is required for doubt. So you need a subject to form a judgment. You need a judgment to create meaning, right? Either true or false. And then meaning is required for doubt. So you can't go this way. You can't doubt the existence of a subject. You can't actually doubt the part of a judgment. You can doubt a judgment, whether it's true or false, but you can't doubt what's inside the judgment. So what this means is that the very experiences that we have, the objects of experience, cannot be doubted. Because you need these objects of experience to actually do the doubting. So where does this leave us? Well, this leaves us with asking the question, how do experiences enter our, well, I should say, how do objects enter our experience? How do we experience things? So this is what Husserl is mostly questioning, right? Husserl is trying to look for the ground root, the ground basis of all knowledge. And this is where he introduces phenomenology, where phenomenology, I think I butchered that spelling, but it doesn't matter. It's one L, I think it's one L. Anyways, phenomenology is the study of how phenomena appear to us, right? Again, how objects appear in our intuition or in our experience. So Kant, right? Kant has the transcendental aesthetic, which is just space and time. So he says that you need things to be both spatial and temporal to enter into our experience. Husserl talks about the dubitability of the I. So he says, like, you can doubt the I and the I think, but you can't doubt thinking itself. You can't actually doubt the existence of the phenomenal object. You can doubt the existence of the noumenal object, like Kant talks about. But then Heidegger asks, well, what even lets us understand entities? These are just things that are, right? Anything that can be turned into a subject. Well, we need to be able to predicate them. We need to be able to, they need to have isness, but this is being. So the basis of our objects to appear in our experience, they have to have some capacity, or they have to have something about them that allows them to do this, and this is called being, right? So if we go back to the other page with Heidegger, we can see that, remember, right, we can say that all objects of intuition are, right? This is, I am, you are. We can take away the property, we can doubt the property, right? But the object always has a certain property, which is being. So all objects of our experience, they all have this copula, they all have this property in them that appears to us. And so you can't doubt the subject, but you also can't doubt its being, because its being is required for the subject to even appear in our experience. So then Heidegger asks, what is the meaning of being? What does it mean when we say the words to be, right? So if I say, to be, am, are, is, right? These all equal being. And what does this mean? What does this mean? And this is where Heidegger picks up. So this is where Being and Time comes into play. Being and Time, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important books in Western philosophy. I think that there's a lot of other important books, Plato's Republic and Critique of Pure Reason. If you're a Hegelian, you can talk about Phenomenology of Spirit, or maybe the Science of Logic. But for me, I think Being in Time is probably one of the most important, because Being in Time, it gets to the very root of phenomenology, which is, so we have entities that are appearing to us, but they have this property, this being, this entityness, this isness. They exist. I can say I am, you are, this is, right? All these things have this capacity, this property. What is it? What does it mean, really? And what allows us to experience entities in the first place? So thank you for listening. This was hopefully educational. The main goal here was just to explain that doubt, right? If I say I can doubt everything, you can't. You can doubt most things. You can doubt any judgment, because judgments can always be negated. Whether it's true or false that they're negated, they can still be negated. But you can never doubt things in the judgments that make their negation possible, which is namely the subject. And then if you can't doubt the subject, you also can't doubt its being, its isness. And if you can't doubt that, then you have to ask the question, what does this mean? What is the meaning of being? And that leads you right to Heidegger. So I hope this was interesting. And read Being in Time if you wanna if you wanna find the answer, or don't. I don't blame anyone for not reading that book. It was a grueling task to get through. But anyways, thank you for watching, and goodbye.